Hey man, awesome performance.
Thank you, bro.
Incredible performance.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, brother.
You too,
Good
man.
to see you,
Thank you
man.
for coming all this way, too.
I like to put the performance to the songs to see how the songs translate on stage.
Word.
You know, and I learned a lot by watching you on stage. Before we talk about your show, I want to talk about the people you selected to be on this tour. Word. Jeremiah. What made you decide to put Jeremiah on the tour?
Jeremiah been doing incredible. His ear for melody and his ear for like hit records is crazy, but well, I worked with Jeremiah last year. The Planes that's out right now.
Yeah.
We did that record last year when I was working on Forest Hill Drive in LA. I linked up with Jeremiah and I saw the talent firsthand working with him. So when it came time to go out on the road, it was like it made sense. You know, I'm a believer off of firsthand experience with Jeremiah.
I didn't expect to see a YG on this tour. How did he get selected?
I watch people, man. I watch people more than I even listen. You know what I mean? Like because he's a street dude and he made the type of music that he made, you wouldn't expect him to make the business moves that he makes.
You know what's interesting? I talked to YG earlier. He felt really strongly about the fact that you stood up for him because we know, he was in that shooting incident.
Yeah.
And he said there was a lot of folks that kind of didn't want to see him on this tour.
People scared of that, man. We doing business with a different type of people out here. They don't know that world at all.
Yeah.
And that scares them. Obviously, you're gonna get people voicing their concerns, but I don't believe in that because I seen the way he moved, and just in my interactions with him, he not stupid. So I just had to really break it down to him, let him know, yo, people are expecting you to fail.
Yeah.
So every decision you or your homeboys make gonna either make that true or false.
And I have to commend you because his crew is some real street dudes.
Oh, word up.
You know,
Yeah.
I met them all. He told me he was bringing them on tour to keep them off the streets, keeping them alive.
Yes.
You know, so I commend
That's
you
real.
for that. That's real, right?
Yeah, how could you not support that? You know what I mean?
Big Sean. What made you choose Big Sean to come out with you?
Big Sean's on fire, man. Me
Yeah.
and Big Sean came in the game together, and we opened up the show for Wale, back in like 2009. So we started this climb together to see what he's done and came through in his catalog of hits. When he out there doing his show, I can hear it from the bus.
Yeah.
It's 40 minutes nonstop hits and smashes. So it's just like, of course I'm gonna bring him out as long as he is cool with coming out, and blessing me with that.
When you guys first formed Dreamville and you got the record deal,
Yeah.
And that seemed like that natural progression for somebody who's been working so hard through the mixtapes, the tapes, the album, building your brand, doing it your own way. You always had the boss mentality, but now you're official, legitimate CEO.
Yes,
And so I was thinking about your artists, and I was curious to what made J. Cole pick certain artists. Let's start with Omen.
Omen, poet. Omen could do a whole album and not curse, or like do a whole rap and not curse, and get the message across just as impactful as I would say with the curse word. And not because he don't want to curse, just because his vocabulary is that extensive. His insight is that like profound that sometimes curse word is like gets in the way. It's taking up space. That's what I think about when I think about Omen. It's like a poet.
Let's talk about Bas.
Bas, man. It's crazy about Bas because Bas really had to earn it.
Yeah.
Bas had the advantage of seeing me from day one in Queens way before the record deal. When we just had records that E would just be playing around Queens, playing for people. And people being like, yo, who that? He'd be like, this is my man I go to school with. I remember the first song, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Just to be that good so fast. And he was still raw and like raw talent, but I saw it. But like I said, the fact that I knew him, it wasn't like I was gonna be like, come on, Bas.
Yeah.
He worked on for years. That's what happened with Bas. He had to prove it to me. But I don't want to just say that about him. I want to say why I admire him and respect Bas. And like his style, he's from Paris. He's from Queens, but he didn't move to Queens until like the third grade or something like that. So he has this like European ear I can't really describe. That's way different from my ear. So when you listen to his music, it's totally different from anything I could ever offer the world. It's vibey. We got a song together called Maybell. He got this beat because after a show we did in Belgium, he just went and went to these producers' studios, smoked a blunt with them, and listened to beats all night. And he heard that one. When he came and played me that song, I was like, nigga, how could you ever get on this beat?
Yeah.
I would have never heard that. And what he did to the beat, it was genius. So that's what I respect about Bas. His openness to work with everybody and utilize all the resources around him. He's making our producers better, the Dreamville set producers. That's why I give it up to Bas on that level.
Okay, you really like Bas.
Yeah, I
okay.
know, word up. Yeah, I had to say that, like, yo.
yeah, okay, I like him too. Kaz, who is this kid Kaz?
Kaz is beast, just beast. I see myself in Kaz, young, hungry, vicious, raw, and he want to be the best. I see that eye of the tiger in him. He want to out-rap everybody. If he on a song with me, he want to try to destroy me. Mm-hmm. I see that in him. Saying like when I got on Stars Born with Jay, I'm trying to show out.
Yeah. And
that's what I see in Kaz, a young, hungry, South Central, different perspective too.
I always felt like you went against conventional wisdom in the game and the way you approached everything. Even when you bring up being signed to Jay, you never really leaned on Jay.
Right.
This album having, really no features and then really exclusive collaborations. Why was that important for you to do this album that way?
It wasn't on purpose. It's never on purpose. What happened was, by the time I knew it, I had the album finished. I got rid of all old pressures that people think is the right way. All these old questions. Mm-hmm. What's the single? How long do you put the single out before the album? What's the radio spin? Who's on the album? They always ask that in interviews. Mm-hmm. That's old. Yeah. That's old, bro. I've been hearing that question since the 90s. What features you got? What producer you working with? And back in the days, it made sense because it was like, well, if I'm Biggie, maybe I could tap into this Wu-Tang audience if I get Method Man. It's another fan base that I guess there's some East Coast fan base, I can get this. And it ain't relevant no more. It's like, I built my own fan base. Yeah. I don't want yours.
Yeah.
So by the time I finished the album, that old question creeped up. Like, ain't nobody on the album. And the more I think about it, I want to keep it like that. Like, on this album, on this story, I didn't need nobody else's perspective, because I was writing it all. Not to say I ain't gonna never feature with nobody. I'm looking forward to that.
Guys like Big Crit, he puts the art above the business, above making a radio single. Kendrick did that this time around. You did that this time around. Is it that the art is more important to you?
I was the example for all of these guys, and nobody should ever do it again. I was the one that had to go through it to show everybody that, like, yo, this is not the way no more. You don't have to have the features. You don't have to drop the single. You don't have to have the radio record before they put your album out. You don't have to follow them rules. You can put out what you love and still sell records if you connecting with people. It ain't gonna be overnight. Yeah. You do art first and then build the business around that. That's what I figured out, and that's what I've been doing.
The art first.
Definitely, for sure. The last album was like, I had to literally come to grips with this album might not sell, because we ain't doing this traditionally. And I ain't had no singles, nobody ain't heard no music. It was a scary thing for me. But I believe, like, yo, even if it don't sell, I believe in this. Y'all like it? Cool, that's a blessing. It didn't sell? I came to terms with that already. Mm-hmm. It sold? You serious?
And it sold big.
Well, I guess the game just changed. Yeah. I guess the rules ain't what they said.
You know your audience. So watching the show, hearing the stories that you tell before the songs while watching you on stage brings so much more insight. Say, for example, Love Yours. You told a story about, a billionaire, and a billionaire can have all the money in the world, but could be miserable as fuck, basically.
Right.
Right. And you talked about, now I'm on the other side. I've experienced this. I got the money. It ain't all what it worked out to be. What was your experience like when you finally start making money?
I ain't really got an answer for that because it doesn't resonate with me. Yeah. I don't have no cool answer for you because, like, I was never like gassed, like, oh, look how we getting this. I don't come from that world. Yeah. I don't come from that world where I just can't wait to get money and stunt and show you that I got money and make a video on Instagram holding and talking to the money. That's not. That's
like put the stack on your ear.
Nah, I see that's like the cool thing right now, but that's not cool. That's never been cool to me. Like, if it's cool to you, do it. But I just noticed that some of these people that got everything that we think we want, deep down they're not happy. which I could relate to because I went through that period where it's like I had all these blessings, but the happiness wasn't there.
I feel like this album is also like preserving a certain part of the culture that, you and I talked about some of the research you've done on culture,
Right.
on hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, going back and looking at some of the pioneers.
Yes.
And by even talking to that just grew my perspective on who you are, because you're kind of like a bridge for my generation and your generation. Things that confuse me about this generation of rappers seem like it confuses you too.
It don't confuse me because I understand them. I know them. Even if I don't know them personally, I know somebody that I grew up with that is them. So I understand the mentality. I also remember a time in the culture in my short life where it was like, felt more interesting, felt more exciting. Less like critical, less everybody worry about first week numbers and like, oh, who's the hottest? It was more like, yo, we getting this album finally? We getting the Nas album, we getting the J album finally? Oh, Lauryn Hill got an album? Jay-Z dropped on the same day as Lauryn Hill and Tribe Called Quest. Who knows the first week numbers? Who knows who beat who? Nobody gives a fuck. Back then, I'll be finding myself going back in time, like just trying to connect the dots. Like I was just watching this documentary I told you about. It's called like Big Fun in the Big City or in the Big Town or whatever. It's like these Dutch dudes came over and did a documentary in the 80s on hip hop, this new thing called hip hop. And they had all these interviews. Grandmaster Flash, Dougie Fresh, they interviewed LL like in his crib in Queens. And when I look back, I'm like, they was having way more fun with this stuff than what we are.
Yeah.
It was way more about like the music, the energy, the culture. This is new. Now I feel like whether they know it or not, people are tired. These albums that's coming out, people bored, bro. It's the truth. And it's like the few bright spots in hip hop, it's like, it's sad that that's it. Because at one time, everything was a bright spot, you know what I mean? So I just be waiting for that new thing. What's that new thing that's coming?
Yeah.
I feel like something new is coming. I realized this as I was watching that same documentary. I was like, yo, when hip hop like came and got hot, soul music, which was like an evolution of like rhythm and blues, which is like an evolution of like blues and jazz, you know? Soul music, which was like in its heyday, that morphed into disco.
Yeah.
That morphed into something corny, something that was so pure at one point, morphed into disco. And now they seeing dun 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 dun.
Saturday Night
So you
Fever.
got exactly. You got the young people subconsciously like, we not fucking with that. We need something new. And what grew out of that? Hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm only saying that to say it feels to me like we could be in that stage. I ain't saying we are, because maybe hip hop come back to life. I mean, it's always gonna be here, but I'm saying it might be time for something new.
Yeah. You do something else that a lot of this generation rappers are scared to do, in my opinion, and speak a certain level of truth about what's going on in our communities, what's going on in today's society, globally, domestically as a whole. Why are people scared to like talk about things of substance?
You know, I realize when you put yourself out there and say something, you leave yourself open for so much criticism, and you leave yourself open to be proven as like somebody that don't know what they talking about. It's a scary thing, especially when you just been training to be a rapper your whole life. You ain't been training to be no politician or no activist. Bro, a lot of these dudes just happy to be getting money, just happy to be out the hood. They don't come from that mentality, and I can't blame them because they not living a life with a consciousness about why they are where they are, why we are where we are as a people. I can speak for myself as somebody who, since I was a kid, even if I couldn't verbalize it, I've been noticing. And if I notice, it's my job as an artist to write it down, jot it out, tell you what's on my mind. So I'm just doing, I feel like I got the responsibility because I see it. If you don't see it, how can I expect you to speak on it? I don't even want you trying.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck it up. You're gonna fuck it up for all of us. That's why they put these niggas on CNN and on Fox News. Because they want them to say some stupid shit
stuff,
so they could be like, see?
That there were rumblings about you and Kendrick collaborating on the project. Because the two of you just put out two of the most powerful albums we had in recent years.
Word.
You know, have y'all talked about, you know, let's do it? Or?
We always talking. I ain't going like, look, I'm not gonna add more fuel to the fire because I feel like it's only gonna pump it even more. Like, just know, like nothing has changed. I'm not gonna give you nothing like, oh, we cooking up right now. It's coming. Like, nah, just know. As long as the people still want it, as long as we still want it, that's all that matters.
Okay.
I'm not gonna like.
It ain't nothing. It ain't no more to add to it. Though.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, man, listen, man. Powerful album.
Thank you, bro.
Congratulations, and I'm gonna tell everybody to come check out the tour.
Please, bro.
All right, J. Cole.
Thank you, bro.
My man.